Ring the church bells, it's finally happened. South Africa has received a direct spot at an international LAN event. We have our very own closed qualifier for ESL Challenger Rotterdam 2022 happening later this year. And everybody in the scene is absolutely abuzz. All the players, the orgs, everybody involved in our little community here at the bottom end of Africa is just absolutely enthralled right now. It's kind of like that small town type of thing when you have a really famous person come through and everybody gets super excited because we've been noticed and we're on the map right now. So I think that's awesome and really looking forward to that opportunity as well. The last time we had an international qualifier here in South Africa was back in 2019, where Energy qualified for the Asia Minor, which was for a spot at the Berlin Major, if you remember that. So it's been ages since we've sort of had that chance. And I'm not talking about a team being directly invited to an international event. I mean, actually having our very own closed qualifier being hosted, our own, sort of circuit to get our best team overseas and have their shot at competing with the other teams who have also qualified and been invited. So let's talk a little bit about the event. Like I said, ESL Challenger Rotterdam, as you can see behind me, the beautiful city, got the Erasmus Bridge over here, which is certainly a beautiful piece of architecture. And the event itself is going to be an 8-team event. There's going to be 4 directly invited teams and then 4 teams that qualify, one from each region. You got one in North America, South America, Europe, and then our qualifier here in South Africa as well will form that 8-team event. $100,000 up for grabs, but it's not really only the cash prize pool which everybody's going to be gunning for. And try keep up with me, because it maybe comes across as a little bit confusing, but from this event here in Rotterdam, there's one spot available at the ESL conference in season 17, which is going to be happening after the event. And from that ESL season 17 conference, there's actually 6 spots up for grabs at the ESL Pro League, right? Which is the biggest event of the year outside of the major kind of thing. $1 million prize pool with all the best teams. So there's actually a direct pathway here from our very own South African closed qualifier to potentially make the run the whole way through to the ESL Pro League. And that's why I'm a big fan of the way that ESL have redesigned their tournament structure. They've got the ESL Pro Tour now, and it means that there's always a link, right, between the events, and there's a pathway for teams that maybe don't necessarily have the resources to still make these runs and create names for themselves. If they've got, the hard work and the ability and the skills, and they can still show what they're capable, right, and still have the opportunity to compete with the best, which I think is vital to create a system where it's not only about teams who have the resources that can actually have the chances to compete, right? So that's going to be in the back of teams' minds. I think that there's like this, miracle potential run that you could make, and it's not only about competing at that LAN event as well. But obviously, that's going to be the immediate focus with a lot of money up for grabs as well. It's going to be happening on the 14th until the 16th of October, as I said. So certainly keep your eyes on those dates. And yeah, as I mentioned, further opportunities available as well from that event in Rotterdam. The qualifying events in South Africa, the dates rather, should I say, are yet to be announced. So, keep your eyes on the relevant social medias. Elusive, the guy who released the news here, I would give him a follow. I'm sure he'll be announcing some more news soon. I mean, massive shout out to all the people behind the scenes who have, done so much hard work to make this happen. So many, there's so much that goes into getting an opportunity like this for our region, guys. And it's really important that we all recognize how special we are, I think, and that we don't take this for granted. We can't afford to take this for granted. We're not entitled to the spot right now, and we need to be grateful, and we need to actually make the most of this opportunity and capitalize on it. That's how life works. We've been given this chance, and now we need to show what we're capable of and show why they should, keep our region on their team list going forward in their international events, right? So yeah, huge opportunity for the South African CS:GO scene, and in my opinion, it couldn't have come at a better time. There's a lot of official and unofficial changes that have been announced, and some yet to be announced, maybe rumored, whatever the case may be. I think this news couldn't have come at a better time for the South African scene. When you think about the fact that the motivation is just going to be an all-time high. I mean, this event's happening in 6 months from now. I'm sure the closed qualifiers will be in a few months from now as well, which means there's a decent amount of time between now and the qualifier and then the event itself, which means it's not like the team who's just in the best form right now is the team who's going to get to qualify and go overseas. Because there's so much time between now and then, everyone's going to be working super hard. If you're not working harder than the team next to you, you're going to get left behind, right? so much motivation and inspiration for these teams that are just coming together now. You always get these like honeymoon periods. Imagine, everybody's going to be keeping that feeling for a much longer period of time now because of what's at stake. It's not just another online year of South African Counter-Strike culminating with one big online event. Now there's a chance to go overseas and compete with some of the biggest teams in the world. This is I wouldn't go, life-changing experience, if you will, because it's a chance to go overseas as a Counter-Strike player in South Africa, and just have a chance to sort of live out your dream, whether it's in an isolated moment or it leads to something greater, either way, right? But I think it does come at a great time for the South African scene. I really hope we can make the most of this as well. And, obviously, historically, South African teams have really struggled at international events. But I actually have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit different, particularly because it's been announced so far, in the future. And we've got our qualifier as well with so many different strong teams at the moment in the South African scene that are currently being formed and have been formed. The competition is going to be at an all-time high. And I feel like we really have a chance to make our mark at this event because we're going to be competing against other teams who should be of a similar level as well, right? It's not like we're being thrust straight into the conference or something like that. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it all. And I know that everybody else is as well. Hopefully, we can, as I say, do some damage and make the most of this one. Remember, actually, to be vaccinated and have your goddamn passports in order. You will not be allowed into the Netherlands if you're not vaccinated, I'm sure. I mean, and that's not even a political thing from my end. I'm just saying you don't really have a choice as a player if you do want to compete at this event. So you're going to have to put that aside if it is something that you are or you don't agree with. Either way, just pointing it out because I don't want to see anybody getting left behind because they realized too late that they weren't vaccinated or they didn't get vaccinated in time. So just keep that in the back of your minds as well as the passport. So that is that. Make sure, as I said, to keep your eyes out for the qualifier dates. I'm certainly going to be keeping my eyes out. Hopefully, I get to cast some of those games.